profile. And by the way, here's the preview, so you can see right there. That's what it looks like. Okay, there he is. Don has become the old-timer at ABC Action News, the first reporter hired when WFDS became an ABC affiliate back in 1994. His seasoning gives him a unique insight to news coverage in the Bay Area. Don knows most of the newsmakers. They know him, and he fell in love after. He's a Gator, by the way, and he worked in Gainesville, Melbourne, Orlando, Fort Myers, West Palm. You never left Florida.
Never
You've
left
always
Florida.
been in Florida. Look at that.
I had 1 year in Boston.
That's right. Yeah, you told me that. Numerous awards, and the funny thing as we go through this, and you know, this is the question I get because we're looking good now. There you go. By the way, guys, anybody who's logged into Facebook, feel free to start asking questions away, and I'll kind of be the moderator. I'll just go sit out of the way, and Don can start talking, because if there was anybody who rivals me in the ability to sit and talk, we're pretty close on this. If he didn't do reporting, he could certainly do weather, and that kind of is a good segue, because prior to 2004. How many weather stories were you ever known for?
I have done weather stories, but I was not known for weather stories. And then 2004 came, and the world changed.
And when Hurricane Charlie was coming up, and I think I'm going to step out, that's what I think a lot of folks wanted to know. How did you get, because anytime you watch the Weather Channel or any video at all that has to Hurricane Charlie, it's always the roof that's blowing off. Don can tell you a little bit about that, and I looked in YouTube actually to find the video. Believe it or not, I don't see it on YouTube. I see it everywhere else. In fact, I might even look around for it while you guys are asking Don questions, and they're already starting, as you see. But Don obviously is known for his hurricane coverage, you know, the hunker down stuff. I mean, I'll tell you, I remember back in '04 when local bars, and this is a true story, every time he said hunker down on air, everybody had to drink a shot. And that is a true story. So I mean, it became part of our lore. And truthfully, I think he would agree with me on this. It pretty much put him and me on the map in the Bay Area.
And here's how that started. It was 2004, Hurricane Charlie. We were virtually the only station in America who could get up through a series of luck, circumstance, and just good planning. And because we were on ABC, CNN, Weather Channel, I was on nonstop virtually for I can't tell you how many hours. And the anchors would repeatedly ask the same questions. What did you do when the roof blew off the hotel? We kind of hunkered down in a hotel. What did you do when you were outside and the trees started knocking over? Well, we kind of hunkered down underneath the highway overpass at the same time. And at one point, Dennis said to me, Don, I've counted, you said hunkered down 37 times. Why? And my answer was, because you asked the same question 37 times. And that's when the hunkered down mystique, the hunkered down game started. And way back then.
And continuous coverage, that's the whole thing, because we didn't stop. We went on straight through for 20, 30, however many hours it was. So I'm going to step out of the way. The question, Don, you can scoot in and you'll be able to see yourself right there, so you'll know you're centered right there. There you go. I'll take it out of the way. And I will start building some questions. And at the same time, I'm going to start looking for some video.
I've got to tell you guys, this is a true story. This is my very first webcast ever. Have never done anything like this before. So I guess I'm going to take some questions. Arlene asked, Don, when you're covering those hurricanes, you look fearless. Are you? I am scared to death. I hate being out in hurricanes because you can really get hurt. I mean, it's dangerous out there. When things are blown around at 100, 150 miles an hour, you could you could get killed. You could get decapitated. We talk about ways to stay safe, and we do to stay safe, and we do everything we can to keep the cameraman safe and to keep the satellite truck safe and keep the equipment safe. And frankly, when I'm not standing in front of the camera, I'm hunkered down. I'm as far away from the weather as I possibly can be. Once I'm in front of the camera, obviously, I'm out in the elements. But I'm scared to death when I'm out in those hurricanes. And I got to advise you guys, it may look fun, and it probably is for the first 5 or 10 minutes, but after that, it's miserable. It's tough.
A lot of people ask, how did you end up in that spot?
This is how we picked that spot. It was coming up the coast, and we thought it was coming up Tampa Bay, so they started me way down in Naples, and I started working my way up the coast every day as the storm got closer and closer to Tampa Bay. This was the storm that was supposed to take a direct hit right up the mouth of Tampa Bay, and everybody was worried about it. We declared a state of emergency in the counties around here, and what we decided was, if we had gone, in fact, the boss actually said, we want you on Clearwater Beach, come back up all the way to Clearwater Beach the day the hurricane's going to hit. And I said, let's do this instead. If we go to Clearwater Beach and that thing hits us, we're going to be knocked out. The truck will be destroyed. We'll be isolated from everybody. It won't do us any good. What about if we stop in Punta Gorda, which is halfway up Tampa Bay? They have a bay there. And I figured, well, you know what we can do? We can get close to the bay, and we can pretty much show people what to expect because we're about an hour and a half or 2 hours ahead of what you're going to see in Tampa. So I figured we'd stay in Punta Gorda as long as we can until we got knocked off the air. I fully expected to be knocked off the air. And once the storm passes and headed to Tampa Bay, then we'd start following the storm and catch up to everybody. As luck would have it, probably, gosh, I remember the storm taking a turn, and Dennis and I were talking on the phone, and I said, Dennis, I'm looking at the weather. It looks like it's turning. He says, yeah, you're right, it's turning. And he said, it looks like it's coming straight to you. The first thing I did is I went to the hotel manager because we were staying at a Holiday Inn, and I said, get your people out of here. The storm's not going to bypass Punta Gorda. It's going straight to Punta Gorda. It's going to come right up the river, and it's going to nail us. You need to get your people out of here. And he actually did. He started going door to door telling people to leave, and they would say, well, where do we go? Where do we go? And he said, I don't care. Just go inland. Get away from here. A lot of the people staying at that hotel had actually evacuated already from Port Charlotte or some of the areas right on the water. We were probably, I guess, 5 or 10 miles inland up a river, and they said, well, where do we go? They've already evacuated to this place. They made them leave. And as luck would have it, the police came probably an hour and a half after that and ordered everybody to leave. But because we were smart enough, I give Dennis the credit, frankly, to warn people to evacuate earlier, a lot of the folks there got a head start. There would have been some serious injuries and possibly deaths if people had stayed because that hotel was just destroyed. It was incredible. So the reason we ended up staying there is because we wanted to show people what it's going to be like, give them an example of what's going to be like before it gets to Tampa Bay. It didn't. We kind of lucked out. What you're seeing right here is, what was it? Just Tropical Storm Faye. This is just a minor little nothing storm down in Naples. It just skirted the area, but you can see by looking at that video just how much you can get in pockets from a tropical storm. You know, people kind of hem and haw, poo-poo over a tropical storm. It's nothing. We don't have to worry unless it's a major hurricane, a Cat 3 or 4. In a tropical storm like this, you can get 3, 4, 5 feet of standing water. And later on in this video, you're actually going to be able to see some of the trees that were knocked down. Look at that. You can see right there. You can see all the homes that were flooded out. This guy was flooded out of his house. It was just a really, really nasty area. And again, about 2 blocks down from where that guy's standing right there, we'll show you the video in just a second. There were trees knocked down. People were isolated. There were 4 or 5 houses that the people were trapped. They had water in their houses. They couldn't leave the area because there were giant trees in the road, and it was just a mess. And I think what we're going to do is, I think this is the part where we pointed down the street to show you exactly where those trees were. And again, look at those people walking up the road. This is just from a tropical storm. There you can see that tree that blocked the road so no one could possibly get out, and there's people there. They were trapped. That's a guy, again, coming out of his house, trapped by a tree, trapped by the water. It was just miserable.
We're asking, several people are asking, this was back in 2004. This was 2004 for folks who weren't in this area, and this was just one of many that year.
Yeah, we had 4. We had 4 within 6 weeks. It was just incredible. We came back from one hurricane, and the boss would call and say, guess what? Pack your bags, you're going again. We just went nonstop for 6 weeks. It was incredible.
What about, I was talking recently about 2005, Hurricane Wilma. And you covered that one down in Naples.
Yeah.
And what was interesting about that one? Because I remember you were saying that it was the only hurricane that you ever remember that it was actually cold.
Yes, it was an October storm, and we were really cold. It was just incredible. This is one of those storms where we expected most of the damage to be in the Naples area because it was coming on shore, Naples, Marco Island. And for some reason, it kind of skidded around us, and most of the damage was on the other coast. It was a very unusual storm. But I'll never forget just how bitterly cold we were just standing there. And again, this is 8, 10, 12 hours we were out there. You're soaked to the skin, and it was wet. It was probably 50s, 60s, but that's really cold when you're standing there wet. It was shocking. Dennis and I talked. Every single storm has a different personality. That storm I'll always remember as being the cold storm. It was really cold.
And what about Hurricane Jean and Francis, the ones that also affected us back in 2004.
Those were on the East Coast, and I remember they were very similar. And one of the things, this is kind of interesting, and I don't want to names, but I will tell you that during Hurricane Francis that was coming into the area, we were supposed to go down and meet it. And our satellite truck operator got scared. And I remember we're driving down to hit the storm and try to drive into the storm, and he pulls over to the side of the road. And we didn't have cell phones working back then. And he pulls over, so we pull over with him thinking, what's wrong? And he gets out, and he had tears in his eyes, and he says, guys, I got to tell you, I can't do this. I can't go down there. It was a major storm at the time, and he just did not want to risk going into it. And we can't make him do it. So really what we had to do is we had to have another satellite truck operator drive over from Tampa, make a 3.5, 4-hour drive to meet us. And by that time, it was too late to go down and meet the storm. We actually kind of had to hunker down where we were. But that was something I'll never forget about that. And again, I tell you guys, I'm not fearless standing in these storms. I have great respect for them. I am scared every time I'm out there. This was a man who said, I don't want to do it. He's a great satellite truck operator. He's still working in the business. He still does a great job. He's not with our station anymore, but he's still working in the state of Florida. And I stay in touch with him. But that'll tell you what these storms are like. They can be scary.
And if you look, this is a site, CycloneJim.com, that actually gets a lot of video for different hurricanes. We're going to go back and show some of Charlie because, again, this is the one. And there's the curve. Yep. There's the turn that we talked about. And tell the folks, when we were talking, we were expecting a surge. And that surge really never materialized. But you and I were talking prior to it.
Yeah, in fact, we were scared to death because I was at 8 foot high. I was 8 foot off the ground, is where the ground level floor was. They were expecting a 12 to 14 foot storm surge where we were. Now think about that. That means I'm going to be 6 or 8 feet underwater, which is why we went up to the second floor of this hotel. The roof blew off, so that was not safe. We couldn't go down to the first floor, we thought, because when the storm surge came in, we were going to get nailed by it. So we literally hunkered down. We had everybody who was left in the hotel hunkered down in the hallways between the first and second floors, and that's where we had to stay until the storm rolled through. We didn't get the storm surge we expected, and I think it was because the storm moved so fast. It was just a bitterly fast storm, just whipped right through. Caused a lot of damage, but we were probably done with it in, I'm guessing, 90 minutes maybe, the worst of it. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't enough time for the storm surge to build up.
It looks like some of the questions, a lot of folks are talking about the no-name storm, which that actually, you were not here when the no-name storm,
I was on the West
Coast. Florida.
Yeah, I was in West Palm Beach, and that was a bitter storm also. And that just goes to show you, you don't need a hurricane to have real bad damage. That no-name storm just clobbered everybody in the state.
I think we have video. It's just the unbelievable, the advantages of YouTube here. This is Hernando Beach, and the thing that I remember about hearing about the no-name storm is that and I was not here at the time, but it hit overnight and it came so quickly that people just were not even close to prepared for it. And I know a lot of people in the neighborhood I eventually moved in lost their docks, and the water came up every bit as high as it would have in a storm surge, you know, with the tropical system. Here's some, look at that. I mean, that is not a hurricane.
Which is why when you get those warnings, even a tropical storm, even a hurricane, guys, they can cause tremendous damage if you're in a low-lying area. Heed the warnings when it's time to evacuate. Someone's asking, do you think we'll get a hurricane? Yeah, we are so long overdue for a hurricane in Tampa Bay. It will happen. Is it going to be this year? I hope not. Next year? I hope not. Will it happen? The odds are it will at some point. You can't go forever in the state of Florida without having a hurricane. If someone would have told me that we would have more direct hits in New York City and Newfoundland this year than in Florida, I would have laughed at them. We've been very lucky so far. I hope we stay lucky.
There's a good question. What do you bring with you when you go chase storms?
We do. I take several changes of clothes. I take several raincoats because no matter how hopefully you are, they're waterproof, they aren't always waterproof. So I take several changes of clothes. We take a lot of flashlights and batteries and glow sticks, a lot of water and Gatorade. Beef jerky is probably our favorite food because it gives you some protein and kind of fills you up a little bit. But I remember once we were down to Pringles and Pop-Tarts and beef jerky. That's what we ate for 3 straight days. And there are times when you're dying for a hot cup of coffee or a hot cup of soup. Because again, even though it's summer, when you've been wet for 8, 10, 12 hours, you get a chill and you want something hot, and that's the thing we always hope for is that we have a satellite truck that has a microwave so we can heat up some soup or some coffee.
This is a look at the from the Melbourne radar, and that's wind. There's your wind.
Yep.
And you know that's showing wind. It looks like 60, 70 knots easy, with some embedded rotation and possible some tornadoes in there. Again, folks, if you're just tuning in, Don Germaise, who's been at the station from day one, as have I. Don is certainly a reporter that's been around for a while, but everybody seems to know him. I'm guessing when people come up to you in town, what percentage of them say something, oh, I watched you during Charlie, or say you're the Hunker Down guy?
It's funny because, again, I've been here for 17 years. I've covered a lot of stories. I'm on a first-name basis with every governor we've ever had in the state of Florida. I have covered major sports stories. I've done it all. But when people walk up to me, they'll say, oh, you're the hurricane guy. Oh, I know you, the Hunker Down, right? Yeah, what's your name? Hunker Down, the hurricane guy. They don't know the name. They know the hurricane guy. It's just that type of an experience. And it really is all from one 6-week period out of a 17-year career here. But it's all Hunker Down and Hunker Down with Don. I've had little kids who sent me posters and they want autographs and they all want Hunker Down in there. And again, I guess I owe that to Dennis Phillips, who gave me all that grief about it.
And by the way, just since we give everybody updates of everything, in case you just didn't see this posted on right there on the page, look at what we have.
All right.
We are already 2-0 Rays with a rain delay right now. And again, like we said, that was with the Longo home run.
Another one.
Yep. So kind of figured if we were going to get Beckett, it was going to have to be early since he hasn't pitched for a week or so.
Does it show where he hit it? Because last time he went
to right center. Yeah, he hit it to left field, so he pulled it.
All right.
Right over the monster.
That short left field
so,
wall.
There you go. As always, we keep you up to date. We'll take a few more questions. Again, Michelle, thanks for coming by. Sherry, Maddie, these are folks who are in quite a bit. And again, if you have any questions for Don, this is a very rare opportunity. And not to mention, again, he is coming in on his time off to come in and do this. So if you're just watching, this is Don covering Hurricane Faye. For the life of me, I can't believe that I cannot find video of Charlie and him, because the video is everywhere, and I'm sure we have it somewhere in our well, we do, obviously we have it somewhere in our
you know, we'll get it and we'll put it up.
Yeah, because this is it's, you know, that is what he's known for. Tim Jones, what were you guys thinking when you saw that? I mean, when that roof went, I can't even imagine what that was like.
The roof actually went as we were trying to shoot a stand-up, and that's where the reporter gets immersed into a tape segment and tries to show what it's like. And so I tried to back out and to show what was happening. All of a sudden, I see Tim, the photographer, just peel away because he saw out of the corner of his eye that something was happening, and he panned up at just the right time. He saw the roof go, and the roof blowing away that we see in every hurricane as an example of what can happen. It was just being there. It happened a lot. I mean, the whole hotel was destroyed. Obviously, they've leveled it and started from scratch.
The thing about this particular one, Faye, as Don mentioned, and I've learned to do this myself, it's never just a tropical storm, because you can get, with tropical storms, winds are usually less of an issue, and flooding is usually the biggest issue. We saw with Irene just recently what can happen with that sort of thing. But in terms of our area, I mean, you know, we had Elena. You were probably in Gainesville when Elena hit, weren't you? Or were you even younger than that? It hit in '86.
Yeah, I was not quite working TV back then.
I think so.
Michelle says, is he the guy who said someone broke into your house and put costumes on your dog? I don't own a dog, so.
Sorry, Michelle. But Michelle's at least here, and that's a plus, because a lot of times she can't get in and hear us. And so she's got her computer up and running.
My daughter has a dog, but then that may be what you're referring to. I don't know.
What else we got there? Okay, I'll tell you what, we got a few more, and then his, what do we got there? There's the Weather Channel.
Has a hurricane ever come in December? I think we had a December 1. Didn't we have, but it wasn't tropical. Didn't we have some kind of subtropical activity in December a few years back?
Yeah, well, pretty much, look at that. But that's when I had a jacket on, believe it or not.
So that was pre-2004.
That was just, no, this was the day before, there's Charlie.
Yeah.
And you're probably at this point about ready to come on and visit the southern area as we were spreading out the coverage. And then the very next day on is when we stopped.
Did you ever tell them a story about why you're wearing the suspenders?
I think so.
He always wore the jacket. That was just what he did. But when Hurricane Charlie hit, I think he was on for 12 or 18 hours straight, and it's hot sometimes under the lights. So he took the jacket off. He told me, and this is true, he owned one pair of suspenders, and that was the day he was wearing suspenders. And a consultant saw it and said, "Oh my gosh, that's you." And they told him, just keep wearing suspenders. He had to go out and buy a bunch of suspenders.
eBay.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. $180 a pop if you go to Neiman's. So yeah. So look at that. That was
Marilyn, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it. Jennifer says Dennis looks so young.
Yeah, no lie. 7 years ago, that's all it was. I'll tell you, it can change things.
It's called having teenagers.
Yeah, no lie. Actually, and this guy, he has a lot of videos of us and other people as well.
Stephen asked if I ever been injured while covering a major storm. I've had some minor injuries. My photographer's gotten hit a couple times also. There's video out there floating around of probably a 4x4 sheet of plywood flying right over the photographer's head and landing right next to me. That was kind of scary. The injuries are very, very minor. I get hurt more when I'm on the beach because that sand blowing right in your face, that destroys the camera equipment and makes you feel uncomfortable. That's what hurts the most. So you will very rarely see me standing on a beach during a hurricane for a couple reasons. The first is, what do you see when you're on a beach? Waves. That's it. We like to be in a shopping center where we can show if there's damage to buildings, if we can show any flooding. We want to show what it's like for the normal person. The normal person doesn't live on the beach. Also, it's very difficult to protect your camera gear. It's very difficult to protect yourself. So we are rarely on the beach during a hurricane. I don't like to call them the rookies, but people who don't understand how dangerous it can be, they're usually on the beach. What else do we have? A lot of fans of the suspenders.
I'm looking at the third one. That's Manly Trisha.
Manly Trisha asks, I have a crush on you for years and wondered if you were single or dating. I am single. I'm also dating.
Yeah, if we pan the camera over, you'd know just how nice it was for him to come in, because he's actually in the middle of one right now. But which is why, if we want to have a couple more questions, we'll let him go. I don't want him to feel burned out. But this is obviously Wayne Chaddick. When Wayne is covering Hurricane Francis, this was all the same year. When we had Francis, we had Jean, we had Charlie, and Lake Wales was the one place that got hit by all four. It was, what, Francis, Jean, Charlie, and...
Ivan.
Was it Ivan?
Yeah, Ivan. Ivan was Pensacola. That was a massive storm. That was incredible. All right, Michelle, I do remember now. I did comment on Michelle's Facebook page a little while ago because she had her dog dressed up, and that's what I was talking about. That's what she was talking about. Sorry about that, Michelle.
Hurricane season begins June 1st. It ends November 30th, Teresa. And what we often do in the shows and in the web chats is we show some of the latest computer models, computer runs, and give updates, so we kind of get an idea in advance if you're going to be out doing your coverage. Because if there's a storm around, you pretty much know, because Don will be there. I mean, it's just, as he mentioned, he's now known for that. That's his bread and butter. So even though it's, what, 1% of your coverage in the 17 years, if that, but it's turned out to be, as you said, what he's best known for.
Emerson Legacy, thank you very much for your kind words. That was really nice. Do we think the Rays will make it to the postseason? Maryland, I got to tell you, if they sweep Boston, they're going there. Splitting the series is not going to do it. They're done. If they win 3 out of 4, that might not be enough. They really need to sweep. What do you think, Dennis?
I think they got to sweep, because 2 games back when Boston still has 7 against Baltimore and we have 7 against the Yankees. By the way, for the record, I had this tie. This week is Domestic Violence Awareness, and we were supposed to wear purple. That tie I'm wearing right there, I had in my hand today, and I was going to put it on, but I didn't. I got a different purple one instead. So that's 7 years old, and I got to get to Goodwill. I got to start dumping some of these things.
Are you buying the ties or giving them away at Goodwill?
Well, a little both, truthfully. I can trade them for some suspenders. But, if anybody looks on YouTube, I mean, this is just some great stuff. Here's Hurricane Charlie. I just cannot believe that we cannot find any of you in that coverage. That's shocking me. It almost wonders if that video is embargoed or something, because it's everywhere.
No, we'll get it up. I'm sure it's available.
Okay.
And we'll make sure we get it on.
We got anything else?
Dawn is an emergency manager and meteorologist. Thanks for making. Well, thank you, Lisa Perry. I appreciate your kind words. Again, a lot of people saying really nice things, and Guys, it's a job. I really love it. I am one of the most fortunate people in the world. Dennis will back me up on this. We are living the dream. We are working where we want to work, doing what we want to do, getting paid for it. We're very, very fortunate. And in a business where people change cities and have to move markets, usually every 3 or 4 years, we've been lucky enough to be for 17 years. We are just, yeah, we are really, really lucky.
Well, it looks like I mean we've got a full room too. By the way, I think we've had more page views on this particular one than we've had since the first night that we've been on. So people have been asking for you for a long time. So again, really appreciate you coming out here. You got any final words for the folks?
Guys, my very first webcast. It's been a pleasure chit-chatting with you. I honestly hope you don't see me in a hurricane anytime soon, because if I'm in a hurricane, that means we're all in danger. These things are just a royal pain. Look at this. Arlene says, hope we're here for another 17 years. Ain't going to happen, pal.
Yeah.
We are not going to last that long.
Nah, because of what we're doing right now, actually. You know.
Holly remembers Donna way back in 1960 when she was in Orlando. Holly, you're giving your age away.
Wow, that is quite. I'm gonna find this video like you said, because it's crazy.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Billie Jean. And thank you, Debbie Grizzle.
All right.
You guys are great.
All right.
Guys, I'm going to take off. I'm taking Lady to dinner right now, and I'm going to do, true story, my very first webcast tonight, later on tonight, will be my very first karaoke.
Oh, we want video of that too. Is there going to be video? Because if there is, we will upload that on as well.
We have assured myself. No.
All right, nice meeting you. How about that, guys? Everybody give Don a round of applause, and you'll start seeing me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So thanks, Don. Really appreciate you coming out here.
All right.
And, yeah, have fun tonight, guys. There you go. See? Was that not worth the wait? Heck yeah, it was. That was a beautiful thing. So we have a nice group out here today. And what I will do quickly, and then we'll head on out, is give you guys, yeah, he really is. And the thing about Don is what he said is so true. I mean, we are so fortunate to do what we're doing. I mean, I've wanted to do this all my life. Don is exactly the same way in person that he is on TV. You know, the gregarious individual that he is. And he brings that, especially during storm coverage. Because what our bosses used to say whenever there was a hurricane, it's just give it to him and let him go. You know, but, you know, obviously at that point you have to, what's safe, what isn't safe. And ultimately I think that's going to be an issue down the road where I really think there's going to be somebody is going to get killed. A reporter is going to get killed because they're pushing the limits now every time. And eventually something is going to happen out of it. And at that point, I'll probably reevaluate everything. So there's all the claps, and we are good to go. And I have not checked the race score, but you guys gave me that update, so that's good. So quickly, before we call this a night, and we'll make this just a very, very quick update, I want to let you know that the GFS has backed off on what we were talking about yesterday for the time being, and that's certainly a good thing. We will see. Let's switch the view to the Atlantic, because if you remember last night, the GFS was trying to develop that monster low up in Canada, and I'll be curious to see with the new run if it's still there. That, by the way, is not a hurricane. I mean, is the hurricane. That one is what was Maria, and now she is gone. All right, so here is the updates. This is the latest run. Now remember, up here is where we were looking for. Let's zoom this over a little bit. All right, bring this over. Can zoom in a little more. Oops. All right, zoom, 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 zoom. All right, let's see what we got now. Let's see what we can see. All right. Okay, there's that low. Actually, it's got two of them. That one's going away. Now look how it's now just breaking it up. Okay, how many hours out is this? Of course it's 360, right? Because what does the GFS do every single night from about 340 to 360? it develops a hurricane of some sort or a tropical system in the northern Caribbean. Here's why it's doing it. A number of reasons, but I don't know how much climatology is put into this run. I don't think it's included in it, truthfully. But the GFS knows that historically this is the time of the year that this is going in and this develops. So it's going to continue to show it until it actually forms. And it's either going to go one of two ways. If there's no trough digging down, it's going to go west in the Yucatan, could go into the Bay of Campeche, and then still kick back east to Florida. If there's a trough coming down, it's going to curve right into Florida. But the one thing you notice, a couple of things. One, you're not seeing that storm here. Remember it was 982 millibars last night? Now it's 1,000 millibars. So much weaker for that low pressure. Not to mention, this ridge is much weaker as well. Yeah, 372. Yeah, it's way out there. So here comes that low that we were talking about. Not nearly as deep, not nearly as strong, nor is the high as nearly as strong. So if that ridge stayed there, this would go west, right? But watch what happens. This trough is eroding the west side of this ridge. Remember, a ridge is a big mountain of air, right? And that trough is going to dig it, weaken it a little bit, and watch what happens to the high. It kind of weakens, and that front, that trough, pushes it away. See how it's now elongated? And because of that, it allows whatever forms to curve. And there it goes. So, you know, it's still 10, 11 days out. You never know. But whenever you see a low going into the islands this time of the year, the majority of the time it will curve. That's why I was so surprised yesterday that it was taking it so deep, but it's because that ridge was so strong. But now it's more reasonable to me. It weakens the ridge quicker. It allows whatever forms to go north, and then eventually tries to develop. In fact, if you look at it, it develops it way down here. That's exactly where we would have to worry about something developing. Now, I'm not saying that it's doing it because of it. Actually, looks like it's taking some energy from the Pacific, and then it redevelops it over on the other side. I'm not really sure what it's doing with it. But regardless, it doesn't look like it's a major issue. It's backed off quite a bit, so that's a good thing. We will quickly look at a few more of these, and then we will head on out. Let's zoom it back out. Zoom, zoom, zoom. All right. And this is the 12Z Euro. Whoa, look at that. It's like it's got a hurricane there, down here. And then, oh, all right. So 48 hours, 72 hours. Still low pressure in the Caribbean. The Euro has been showing low pressure in the Caribbean for a week now. Broad low pressure, you can get systems developing. That's why we always have to watch it, but notice this already looks like it's trying to turn a little bit right there. That's the Euro. You all know how much I love the Euro. The Canadian shows about the same thing. Oh man, 2-to-1 now. They're hitting shields. Oh man, I think I predicted the 2-to-1 is what I predicted would be the final score raise. So that's all the scoring we shall have. All right, so that's that. No, I won't have a 9 o'clock show tonight, guys. Especially since there's nothing new that's going to be going on at that point. Quickly, lastly, let's look real quick. Want to mention SpaghettiModels.com, Mike's page. As long as Mike shows us here, I'm going to show Mike. This is actually the behind-the-scenes tour that I uploaded last night. Of course, I will be uploading this one with Dawn on our YouTube page. You go to ABC Action News. That's the name of our YouTube channel. You click on it, and you can see Dawn's interview and our update here. But again, we're being simulcast as well on Mike's page here. Mike's from Oldsmar. Great name for a website. How about it? SpaghettiModels.com. And great information there. But quickly, let's go to the Penn State site, the EWAL site, and let's look at the 12Z Euro and just see what it does way down the road. I am curious if it develops anything at all down there. And what it does is, look at that. Down there, that's interesting. Not really. You know, you've got something in the Pacific, and but absolutely nothing. So I think we are getting a little bit of a break. You know, we could see an 8 to 10 day break. I mentioned that tonight on the news before things start to ramp up. And again, usually our focus, and I will show this lastly, and then we will head on out for the night. All you got to do is look at 1921 hurricane, Tarpon Springs. There it is. There's the track. That's why anytime we see low pressure coming in this area, that is why we have to remember, because this is, in my opinion, this is the worst track. The Weather Channel did a story that brought it in like this and like that, which if there's a strong trough, that would work too, because it could easily kick it northeast. But in my mind, it's easier for this to make a subtle turn to the right than a sharp back turn to the northeast. So, so there you go. This is the 1921 hurricane, the last major hurricane to hit the Bay Area. 90 years, if you can believe it. Yeah, I mean, this made a subtle turn, but I'm telling you, there's other ones that made more of a hard right turn. And this is the one that we worry about now. I got an email from somebody showing how high the storm surge would be. It was them standing under the sign, and it would be about 21 feet in Tampa. Look up 21 feet and imagine, not only is that the surge, you have your water rise of 21 feet and then 20-foot waves on top of that. So in a sense, you've got 40 feet of water coming in to coastal areas when that happens. That's why we say run from the water, hide from the wind. And I actually got that one from Don. He had heard that from some EOC folks, I think, and that is exactly true. Oh, they tied it up? Ah, man. So anyway, that would be it. You guys have been great. I hope you enjoyed talking to Don. We might even take the weekend off if there's nothing going on. You can put something up on Facebook if you want and let me know if anything's going on. I'm not really sure what's planned this weekend, but if we quickly look at the Euro for the 10-day for the tropics, this is from our AccuWeather site. And there you go. Yeah, you like me with Darth Vader? Yeah, I was at Walmart. I'm at Walmart shopper at night. There's nobody there. It's awesome. Okay, the Euro tries to the Euro looks like it's actually trying to bring something in to the Bahamas there, doesn't it? See that? A little bit of moisture, a little wave. It looks like it eventually. Man, that is a monster coming down from the north. Look at that. Sheesh. That's pretty darn strong. So, so there you go. That's at this point. I think we got a nice little break. I really do. Hopefully, it will stay that way. So, thanks for coming in. And as Lisa said, she has developed a Facebook chat page over there where we're having people come in, and you know, all you got to do is invite, and that way we can keep tabs of whoever decides to come in and tries to create a controversy like they did last night. There's always one in the crowd, right? So again, this is why Facebook is, and this site is just much better for us, because we can obviously monitor who's out there and take measures as necessary. So anyway, you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the games tomorrow. Man, everybody's got one, right? And on Sunday, hopefully the Rays will win 2 out of 3 or sweep. And we will talk to you guys either tomorrow, Sunday, or Monday. We'll just see how things are working out and what's going on in the world of weather. So again, thanks for everything. Thanks for making this a great week. And we will talk to y'all soon. We'll see you. Bye.